We are nearly to the end of the line. It's that close. Earlier this week, this was this week, might have been earlier. I've got an older news card. Let's see if I can find the date here. Yeah. All right. Earlier this week, Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, called HELP, appropriately enough, Chairman, Senator Republican, Tennessee, Lamar Alexander, released a draft of a bill that would reauthorize the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, otherwise known by its acronym of ESEA. That's the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, ESEA. The bill, tentatively titled the Every Child Ready for College or Career Act of 2015, sounds kind of nice, has been released for public comment on the HELP, that's the committee's website. The bill's text is available there as well, but has not yet been formally introduced. The Alexander bill is very similar to legislation the senator introduced in 2013. Overall, it would significantly scale back both the scope and the extent of federal authority over states and school districts. Well, that kind of sounds okay, too. Adequate yearly progress, otherwise known as AYP requirements, as well as annual measurable achievement objectives for English language learners, would be eliminated under the proposal. Okay? There is a lot to this, and we're going to talk about it this hour and explain to you why it is critical. We are about 1 minute to midnight here and the end of the American Republic, our dreams, our hopes, and the way things were. They're being taken to a level of intellectual destruction that is really beyond belief. First up, let me introduce a dear friend of mine of many, many years, maybe close to 20 years. She is a legend in her own time. She is an heroic American patriot. She has done more for this country in terms of trying to wake people up regarding education and what it is being turned into than anyone else. Charlotte Thompson Iserby. Charlotte is a marvelous speaker, a brilliant authority, formerly served at the senior policy level of the U.S. Department of Education. She is an amazing individual, and I'm glad to call her a friend. Welcome back, Charlotte. How are you?
Well, I'm just fine, Jeff. It's wonderful that you were able to get us on. It's almost a stroke of, it's a miracle that we were able to get on tonight.
You gave me just enough time.
I say we because I think that I am not the expert any longer. I've given my hat to Anita Hoge. I've always felt that way about her anyway, and she's going to be joining us tonight.
She has. Yes.
Anita has been the great activist, and in the 1990s, many of us know this, but your audience out there may not know that she was the one that found out what the National Assessment was doing in her little school in Pennsylvania, and I love the story. Her son came home and had taken the National Assessment, and which is really the Common Core too, but without the computers back then. And he had written on his wrist these extraordinary questions that had nothing to do with academics. They had to do basically with ultimately changing our children into little collectivists using the Skinner method.
Exactly.
She had hysterics over it, and went over to the school, and she was told by the principal there, who heretofore had been a good friend, that we are not going to be friends anymore after Anita did this. And then Anita took it to the state level under the Protection of Pupil Rights Amendment, what she'd found out, what they were doing with this testing, and she won her case against, I think she's the only person I've ever known of that won a case against a Department of Education. And so from there on, she traveled the country. She was invited all over to speak. She spoke out at Stanford. She's an expert on data collection, assessment, et cetera. I don't want to take up too much time because we don't have that much time. But
well, she is with us right now, so you can introduce her, and we'll say hello.
That's what I'm doing. I'm introducing her. I consider her to be the expert, probably on an international level, and representing the parents and taxpayers and patriots of this country. There are plenty out there. If they knew what this bill is all about, they would be descending on Washington. And I can assure you, I could finish that sentence, but I'm not going to. Right. So I do want to introduce Anita Hoge from Pennsylvania, and the goal of this whole interview is to get her to go before the committee. The last day, we just found out. We were told end of March these hearings were going to take place. We just found out that they're going to be terminated on Monday, I guess.
Wait. Hold on.
Yep.
They originally actually said around the end of March sometime, and then they pulled this on everyone. It's the hearing is ending Monday? Basically?
Yes. And we just found out, it was a fluke this week, from one of our great researchers who got the wrong senator's office. I was looking for her own, and she got the Democrat's office by mistake. And the lead person in that office admitted that she'd never seen a bill move so quickly. It was a lightning speed. And, so we found out that, no, it's not late March is what we thought. It's right now, and the last day for testifying is Monday. And the only people they have lined up to testify are all the education groups and the corporations, of course, because they're putting in the global workforce training. It's their baby to spin off profits, right, for them, use our kids.
Yep.
And, so anyway, we found that out, and we started moving pretty fast, and we got a lot of stuff out on our terrific blog, which I hope you will get out to the American people because it has all the history right up through now, what they can do, what you're looking at, Anita's post, mine, everybody else's, and in regard to Common Core, in regard to the assessment, data collection. It's the ABCS of dumbed down, DUMBDOWN, blogspot, blogspot.com. Now, if you type in ABCs of dumbed down, it'll probably come up. And if you want to understand the history of how we got here to a communist system, which has been planned since 1934, called for by the Carnegie Corporation in 1934, use the schools to change America's capitalist economic system and to take our land. That was Carnegie in 1934. Well, they're very busy right now, too. They signed agreements with the Soviet Academy of Science in 1985, just like Reagan signed with Gorbachev to merge the two systems back then. So anyway, abcsofdumbdown.blogspot.com is where you go to get every bit of information you need, including all of Anita's wonderful articles, some of mine, everybody else. Extraordinary information there. No excuse not to be informed. So I'm going to turn it over to Anita now because she is, as I say, I'm going to admit to you, I have no understanding of this extraordinary bill anywhere near what Anita Hoge has. Hi, Anita.
Hi, Charlotte. Thank you for inviting me on. I'm really excited to talk about this because we've kind of been shut out of all of the public hearings.
How did Anita, this is Jeff Rentz, how is it that they were able to get away with this, shutting everyone out? This is criminality. This is political criminality.
Yeah. It's actually almost the same thing that they did in Obamacare, except it was the Democrats who were doing it then. Now we're having the Republicans who are doing it. Lamar Alexander's a Republican from Tennessee.
Right.
And what he has put out, now I have to remind everyone that these bills were kind of laying around for about 18 months. So back in July of 2013, the House, which was held by the Republicans then, passed this reauthorization of ESA, which is, people refer to it as No Child Left Behind because that's the last time that it had been changed.
Yeah.
And that bill at that time that was passed out of went out of committee, was passed on the floor, and different Republicans had attached amendments to it for choice. And we'll talk about that as I get into the reauthorization now under Alexander.
Yeah, you just, if I might say something, Anita, you said something very important. You said now they've switched and they're having Republicans handle it. This underscores what we have been saying on this program for 22 years. It's a continuum. It's like a bicycle wheel. You can start anywhere you want. You're always going to end up back at the same place. Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter. Go ahead.
It doesn't matter. And then in the Senate at that same time, one was passed in June and one was passed in July. And that bill in the Senate was Senate Bill 1094. And it came out and out of committee, but Senator Reid held it for all that time because they weren't ready yet. Choice was too controversial. They hadn't had the broadband put up to speed in all the different schools. All of the remediation had to be put in place of what was being implemented through a waiver. So what happened was an ESA flexibility waiver was implemented by Secretary Duncan, the Secretary of Education, the federal Secretary of Education, that waived all these regulations to actually implement what they're trying to put into law now. So what we've experienced, I guess, almost 2 years of ESA already. So this is why we know so much. We've been to different committees. We have requested contracts from the National Center of Education Statistics. Now, this is your data collection on the federal level. And what we found in those contracts that we requested was that Pennsylvania was the model to create a national ID for every person in the United States, starting at birth. They called it a womb-to-workplace database, and it includes every individual.
Womb to workplace, how about womb to grave?
Well, but you understand, when they say workplace, what they said in this grant, we're going to start when that child is born, and we want to be sure to attach wages because we want to know your worth, human capital, your worth to society. So what they said they were creating was a psychometric dossier. Now, that's my word. Okay,
that's a good word.
What it is,
psychometric.
It's a good word.
No, it's a very fine word, yeah.
Because what they were doing is creating a new census. That's their word. Okay.
They called it a new census?
Yes.
This is beyond communism, ladies, that we are down the road well past what we knew traditionally as Soviet communism. This is high-tech stuff.
Yeah, this is high-tech. And if you think Edward Snowden released anything, about phones and emails and how the NSA was tapping, you wouldn't believe what the government has on your children and on your families. They have everything in this psychometric dossier because they're collecting attitudes, values, personalities, everything.
Habits, fun, pastimes, interests, whatever, friends.
Yes.
Everything.
Yes. Everything.
Now,
and
this
then connected to the demographic, okay, so they have everything.
Got it. Dear listeners, this is not an exaggeration. As I've been trying to tell the world, whoever will listen, as has Charlotte and as Anita is doing, they are so far advanced from where you might think they are. It is frightening. And they want us to be frightened, but they are truly miles ahead. This system is up and running. It's up and running. When you become, if you're a mother to be, when you become pregnant, that is picked up immediately in your doctor's office with a first pregnancy positive result, and it's sent, I'm sure, to the federal database, and they click, boom, open a dossier.
That's exactly where it starts, and I have a lot to say about the babies, but I'm going to get there, okay?
Sure.
So basically, we have this, we have the contract that says all these things. We got it in Pennsylvania because
excuse me, Anita, I'm sorry. The contract. Who made the contract? Where did it come from?
It came from the National Center of Education Statistics, okay?
All right.
That's your federal organization that collects